Hello, my name is Morgan Barta, and I'm going to teach you today how to properly assess heart rate and blood pressure. So first we're going to start with heart rate. So what we're going to do is take the subject's right arm, place it on a table, supported, and relax, not straight or locked out. And then we're just going to palpate for the radial pulse at the radial artery with 2 fingers, not the thumb. Just feel around for it. Once you've found it, you can see you start a timer. So we're going to do that.
This is for Christmas shirts.
Stop. So 32 beats is what I count, and that is going to, in 20 seconds, so times 3, that is going to be 96 beats per minute.
Yes.
In the heart rate test, a normal resting range is between 60 and 80 beats per minute. And through that, you're just counting the pulses and feeling them at the radial artery. Alright, next step in our video is going to be the administering the blood pressure test, measuring it. So first, what we need to do, is find the brachial artery pulse. So it's going to be right about where the head of the bicep is. So just feel around for that. Once you found it, I'll take note of where that is. Next step is placing the sphygmomanometer cuff onto the patient's arm on the bicep area. Just going to wrap that around. Just note this is not an actual blood pressure cuff. We don't have one, so we improvised one. So make sure there's enough space for, once you've attached it, make sure it's secure. Can you please hold that for me? Thank you. Just make sure there's enough space for the diaphragm of your sphygmomanometer to go over the brachial artery and underneath the blood pressure cuff. So now, take our stethoscope, put it in our ears, tips face forward. And what we're going to do is find that pulse again, find that brachial artery pulse. Once you've found it, place the diaphragm onto the artery, on top of where that you feel that pulse. And then you're going to make sure, and you're going to inflate the cuff to 180 millimeters of mercury. We're going to pretend like we're actually inflating the cuff now. So once it's at 180 millimeters of mercury, you start to slowly let the air out until you start to hear small sounds. These are called Korotkov sounds. And the first one you're going to hear, well, actually the Korotkov sounds are caused by turbulent flow in the blood vessel. And the first one you hear is the systolic blood pressure value, usually a little higher, which is always higher actually than the diastolic. And then the last one you're going to hear, which is the most faint, it's typically around 80 millimeters of mercury. Systolic is around 120 millimeters of mercury. That's going to be around there, and that is always the faintest sound. So assuming he's a healthy individual, it has some fairly normal data, gives us normal data, his blood pressure is going to be 120 over 180 millimeters of mercury. And so I think you can take that off now. Go ahead and take it off. So what those values represent is different pressures during the phases of the cardiac cycle. Your systolic value is the pressure on the vessel walls during the contraction phase of the cardiac cycle during one heartbeat, and the diastolic is the pressure on the vessel wall at the relaxation phase of the cardiac cycle. Also, some important things to note are, can I please see your arm? Let's make sure the patient's arm, again for setup, make sure the patient's arm is supported, relaxed, because any muscle contractions in the upper arm especially will influence the pressure and cause a higher blood pressure value. Other things to note are that when releasing the air out of the blood pressure cuff, out of the sphygmomanometer, you need to only be releasing it maybe 3 millimeters of mercury per second. Just make sure it's slow so you can actually, once you hear the sound, that you can tell what number the dial was on and give an accurate measurement.